In this video, I will be discussing the use of sign language as one method that can be used for training communication skills to individuals with autism. In my personal experience, I've never trained the use of sign language when working with children with autism, and this is mainly because I've never been taught on its use. However, in my time spent working at various clinics, I've seen other people make use of said strategy and have found it to be quite effective, especially for those children who lack vocal-verbal communication. According to Michael, 1985, sign language is a topography-based system and may be effective in establishing pure verbal operants. In the absence of vocal-verbal behavior, sign language may serve as a main form of communication for individuals who lack in their ability for vocal-verbal behavior, and this is therefore used to train children to demand or request preferred item, engage in conversation, and emit verbal behavior under the control of various stimulus conditions. To begin, sign language training involves teaching individuals the simplest American Sign Language sign that conveys the meaning of each item that is taught. To avoid possible confusion between different signs required for the training of hand signals, selected to be conducted in a way where they do not topographically resemble an already taught sign. The benefits for using sign language include using procedures for sign language training that have already been developed and recorded on a national forum, where people making use of signs are using similar topographies to communicate to others, such as that developed by Sundenberg and Partington's 1998, Teaching Language to Children with Autism or Other Developmental Disabilities. So the initial training includes selecting the target verbal communication that will be taught during the training period, such as, for example, water. This will begin with having two experimenters, one who sits behind the trainee and delivers them prompts as needed during the training session, and a secondary experimenter who sits in front of the participant and acts as the listener and develops reinforcement accordingly. For example, during a training session, the experimenter sitting in front of the trainee provides them with an item, which in this case, myself, I would be providing water, followed by the sign name of the item and a vocal motto, water, for the item being shown. So I would show them the cup of water while simultaneously signing water and vocally expressing water. In this case, the sign for water is this. It is a W, and it is put to the mouth. So I would show them the cup of water while simultaneously signing water and vocally expressing water. The trainee is then expected to imitate the sign for the water to be delivered. Similar to any training, a preference assessment should be conducted prior to the training session to ensure that the trainee is aware of the reinforcer to be delivered upon correct responding, as well as to ensure that the trainee is sufficiently motivated by the reinforcer that is to be delivered. This is, of course, something that increases the motivation to attend and respond to tasks. In the event that the trainee failed to respond to an item appropriately, the experimenter sitting behind the trainee provides supplementary physical prompts, thereby facilitating the trainee to produce correct responding for the sign that is related to the item being shown. In this case, myself, I would be sitting behind the trainee, and I would physically guide the trainee's hand motion to gesture water, followed by reinforcement being delivered. So coming behind them, holding their hand up, and signaling water, followed by reinforcement. Given the example provided for sign language training, the process can be somewhat lengthy, especially for individuals who require several training sessions for each individual word having to be directly taught. For individuals who have the potential to communicate with vocal responses should be considered for the training of other alternative communication interventions as a means to increase their opportunity to observe vocal-verbal behavior both within and outside of the teaching environment, which will likely lead to an increase in their vocal-verbal communication skills more naturally. Advantages that exist for the use of sign language training are that they can produce increased communication skills for both children and adults alike. However, sign language training should be combined with other alternative communication skills training to ensure that vocal-verbal communication is also being taught and is important for those individuals who have the potential to use vocal-verbal communication to be used in the community where sign language may not be understood by all. Sign language does become very useful for both children as young as 3 and adults with autism who have severe impairments with communication and otherwise have failed to vocally communicate after having undergone different trainings for increasing their vocal communication skills. Unlike the PEC system, sign language is an age-appropriate method that is used internationally for people not only diagnosed with autism, but more prominently for people suffering from hearing loss, visual impairments, and other varying disorders across the lifespan. Sign language training should not be taught to individuals who suffer from motor deficits that would otherwise impede their ability to execute signs with accuracy and or with curing physical pain. In this case, other alternative methods to training communication skills may be more appropriate. Thank you for listening, and I hope that it was and lightning.